What's up everyone, Colby Cheese here with my first Dark Souls 2 game walkthrough. Now this particular guide is going to be somewhat aimed at newer to intermediate players. I'm not going to be doing like some kind of speed run playthrough where I skip everything and just do the most efficient route. I may do something like that later, but this particular walkthrough is going to be kind of a mix of casual and efficiency. So I'll be doing a lot of things that are fun to me. I plan on playing this build as fun as possible. I'll probably skip a few enemies that I don't want to mess with, and I'll be showing you guys how to get a couple of items that will help you on your builds. I'm not necessarily going to make this geared toward a specific setup, but this particular character is going to be a dex-based champion essentially. So I started off with the bandit class. The bandit class has a decent amount of starting dexterity. He starts with a short bow as well, so I'll have that right off the bat and we'll be good to go. So the main idea is I'll be using things like bows, and I'll use like daggers, rapiers, maybe I'll check out spears. I'll probably play around with some twin blade stuff later, mostly for PvP I'm guessing. We'll be doing stuff with katanas I'm guessing. And I think that's about it. I'll play around with other dex stuff later, maybe do some things with daggers. Well, I just skipped the noob area there. That's kind of the tutorial zone. You should definitely go through that if you're just now starting the game, but you can always run past it if you don't care about all that stuff. Actually, I probably do need to go back there later. I'll grab a dagger, but since I already ran past it, it's not a big deal. So what I'm going to show you guys right now is a couple things that you can do as a newer player in order to get yourself all set up. One of the most important things to do at the beginning is to go talk to this lady right here. Another thing to do really with the game is to talk to every single NPC that you find, and not just talk to them once, but exhaust all of their dialogue options. Not only does that give you a little bit of insight into the very obscure storyline of the game, but sometimes if you talk to every NPC and exhaust their dialogue, then you get extra things from the game. So real quick before I finish that, you want to run up and attack that rock right there at that whale. That will give you an Estus Flask shard. Now, these Estus Flask shards are a little bit rare in the game. You get about 10 to 12 of them, I believe, by the end of the full playthrough. What you do is you take that back to this lady right here, who not only will help you level up, but she gives you that Estus Flask. Estus Flask is your healing potion in the game, if you don't know already. And Estus Flask Shard will give you extra uses of that Estus Flask. And every time you rest at a bonfire, you'll gain those back. They're rechargeable, as opposed to using life gems, which are consumable and non-rechargeable, other than just finding more or buying more. So, in any case, I don't have any souls because I haven't killed any enemies yet. Normally, I would go and level up or whatever if I had a chance, but I cannot yet. So the first thing you want to do as a newer player, if there's certain people that go a harder route and do something else, but for most players you want to come the direction that I'm going right now. We're just going to run down here, and I'll go ahead and grab any loot along the way. I grabbed that rusted coin. That's mostly used later on if you're going to be farming for particular drops from enemies that have rare drops. There are certain enemies in the game that will drop on a rare occasion items that you'll want, but that's something you'll have to look up later. I'm not really going to cover it in depth in this particular walkthrough. I'll probably mention it when I walk past stuff that I think about, but in terms of finding particular items, I'll probably make individual videos to help out with that. So a couple things to note about mechanics in this game. You'll notice I just jumped. In order to jump, you have to be sprinting, and then you can push your trigger down. I'm not going to talk too much about that. In terms of fighting enemies, there are a lot of things that you'll have to practice to get better at. One of the main things is that you need to learn in Dark Souls in order to get good at it is learning the dodge windows. So right now, real quick, I'm just going to test out my short bow just to see how much damage it does. It doesn't seem like my short bow is doing a lot of damage. I think for the beginning of the game, I'll probably just run around and swipe stuff with my axe. One of the main things that I want to show you guys how to do very quickly in the game is get a better weapon, a weapon upgrade, depending for really any class that you have. If you're starting as a magic user, you can use your spells right off the bat. Those are really good for starting out as melee. Generally, your weapon's really strong if you start off as any of the warrior classes or whatever. I think one of the harder classes to start off with is probably the little swordsman guy, because he has such low health and all that stuff. All right, this part is probably one of the first real challenges of the game, honestly. The main thing you want to do is you can't let the guys surround you. We're going to run around and just kind of let them come up to us and try and use the range on this axe to take them out. I just noticed that when I two-hand it, it actually has an automatic block animation, so you have to go back to one-handed to recharge your stamina. All right, so this guy right here is kind of the first mini-boss that's in the game. I'm just going to grab all the weapons. Let's go ahead and I want to show you something real fast. If you go look at the weapon menu, if you push Y twice, it'll show you the total amount of damage that you do with each weapon. You'll notice that I currently have 126 if you look at that one little thing that's changing whenever I mouse over different things. And it changes whenever I mouse over different weapons. So that's the total amount of damage that you do with a weapon. So if you want to decide on which weapon is going to do the most damage for your build, you can actually push Y twice in the weapon selection screen, and that'll help you out. Now I'm going to use my bow. In order to aim a bow without actually auto-targeting, you have to push down, while you have it two-handed, you have to push down the left trigger if you're using a controller, and that'll allow you to do that. Otherwise, you can auto-target. Auto-target is very important. If you haven't been using auto-target, you got to do that. Just push down. I'm going to speed this fight up. This fight right here, I wouldn't recommend fighting this guy. He's an optional boss. I wouldn't recommend fighting this if you're really new at the game, but if you want your first nice kind of like mini boss challenge, go ahead and fight him. It's a lot of fun. It's not going to ruin your playthrough, and it's not like it messes anything up. The main reason for fighting these guys is that they give you weapons. This guy drops a Hade Knight Sword, or Hade, I don't know how you pronounce that. So I will kill him. The Hade Knight Sword is probably the first pretty decent sword that you can get in the game. If you're going to be doing any kind of melee, I recommend go ahead and pick this sword up. It does quite a bit of damage. It does magic and physical, so that's really nice. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to learn his attack animation and get up behind him and backstab. I'm actually not too good at it because he has this really crazy like spin around attack. So this is one of the harder enemies to... Usually what I'll do is I'll wait for them to attack, and I'll roll right past them right when it's about to hit me. And again, rolling is one of those things you're going to have to practice to get the hang of the... There's something called Invincibility Frames where you actually... you can't take damage if you roll at the right exact moment, and that can be improved by leveling up adaptability. This particular character, I'm not going to rely on shields, which it makes the game a little bit more difficult, but it's really fun to rely on just dodging and rolling and staying at range and things like that. So adaptability will level up your agility, which allows a little bit higher invincibility frames. Anyways, a little bit of technicalities there explained there. So I grabbed the Hade Knight Sword. I can't actually use it yet, unfortunately. I had to level up like one more strength. So I'll do that later when I level up. We're going to come through here and just kind of avoid all these enemies. You can run past most enemies in this game, but, obviously... I'm not trying to speed run the game, like I said, so I'm just going to go ahead and kill stuff for fun, which is what the game's all about, man. Having lots of fun. There's a lot of ways to play the game, which is another cool thing about Dark Souls. You can do speed running, you can do PvP, you can just go kill stuff, you can do co-op. I think that they did a really good job with Dark Souls 2, giving players a lot of options and ways to play the game, and a lot of ways to increase the difficulty of the game as well. So we're going to run up here. Be careful, that guy right above you, when you're walking down the stairs, he will throw fire bombs at you, so you need to run all the way past the stairs. Don't try and fight at the stairs. We're going to let these guys... One really good strategy for fighting pretty much any enemy in the game is wait for them to attack, because they're going to have like a small recovery window before they can attack again, and then you basically just do a counter attack in the sense that you're safe to attack. If you try and attack at the same time that the enemy is attacking, generally you're going to take damage too, even if you do damage to them. Now sometimes you can stagger them. There's a mechanic called poise, which affects that. But we'll talk about more of that stuff later when we start looking at armor. For now, though, we are nearing the end of this first intro to my walkthrough. If you guys enjoy it and want to see more, make sure that you subscribe. I'll be doing not only this walkthrough, but a lot of other individual videos to help you out with various things like boss killing and finding secret stuff and doing Covenant, all kinds of various things. So I will see you guys around for the next one. Peace out.